All right, welcome back. We've got two episodes posting today. We couldn't record over the holidays, so we pre-recorded a bonus game show episode. That'll also be dropping tonight. But we've got Jay, Steven back on. How are you boys? How are you boys' this Christmases?
You want to go first?
Oh, bro, what? What do you mean taking turns on Christmas? I mean, my Christmas was pretty. I had a double Christmas. Let's break it down. So day one, we went over to the grandma's house.
Yeah.
Was very fun. Got to open some presents with her. You know, uh, I got to have like some like cool chocolate cake desserts. So that was nice. And then next day we did Star Family Christmas, and it was just the three of us, and it was pretty chill. I got some clothes, got some AirPods, a couple new pairs of shoes.
Anything like Boston sports related or anything?
Oh, I got a KP jersey.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which one?
Green and white. I got the green and white one.
The primary road jersey, basically.
What?
Like the road jersey?
Yeah, like the default one.
Tingus. Let him
Tank.
cook.
He's my favorite player.
Why is that?
What?
Why is what about him?
He's just the way he plays the game, he's very efficient, and he's very versatile at what he can do. He's good
You
on
like
both ends of
them?
the floor when he's actually like playing. So,
You like them lanky white shooters like this guy? Yeah.
Excuse you.
That. Jay, you got anything good?
I didn't get anything, but I just went to like Christmas lights show down south a little bit. That's about it though.
No.
Yeah.
I got Tatum. Is City Edition, right? That's
Wait, what color did you get?
I'd like the white one. It's like the City Connect one.
That's just the home one.
Does it have like the gold lettering on it?
Yeah, it's the gold one.
Yeah,
I think it's called City Edition.
Oh yeah, that's like the in-season tournament one, right?
Yeah, I keep getting the names confused because it's like the same type of thing for every.
It's like statement. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and I got Woo Sox tickets.
W.
Let him cook.
I went to the Woo Sox like last April. It's actually like so fun. The ballpark's so nice.
I've heard Polar Park is really nice. And
yeah.
I'm gonna it was like a voucher, so I can get like, and I can buy like, I'm gonna try and buy tickets for like once Meyer, Anthony, and Teal all get called up. So I'm gonna get the big three. Yeah, so pretty good. Was not very relaxing because I had to like drive to go see family and stuff, and getting in the car is not fun. But yes, the Red Sox didn't get any Christmas presents on Christmas, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like things might be heating up. At least we're seeing them with a bunch of people now. More recently, they're heavily interested in Lucas Giolito, which I don't know. I think it's interesting because it's a guy a couple years ago is like everything you want, like gets whiffs, but also throws a ton of innings. He's still been making all the starts the last 2 years, but ERA has gone up. He hasn't really looked the same. Obviously, he had some personal issues. He went through a divorce, which could have definitely played a factor. But how are you guys kind of feeling on the thought of them signing Lucas Giolito?
Obviously, it's just like not the biggest. Like it's not, you don't feel amazing about it, but I think I would rather have Giolito as price point over Montgomery at this point. So, like, if he ends up being your like 4 or like at best like 3 starter, I guess you can live with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Giolito's supposed to be making like over 20 million a year, and
it won't be as long of a deal though, right? Like I've heard some team
Yeah, it'll probably. I feel like it'll probably be like half as long, probably.
Yeah.
Just because of the
It was like 2 or 3 years for the club option.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like the move like that. That is a he would have been one of the he'd be a valuable starter on the team just because of the ability to eat innings and he could always there are some things when you look at it where you could see a resurgence with Andrew Bailey just getting all his pitches back on track and the fastball to play more but I don't know I feel like the trade market is kind of where like I feel like you gotta go like full steam for Montgomery and then just look for a trade right now.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, I think that if you're paying like Lucas Giolito had a lot of problems last year, like personal issues, and he's bouncing around. He bounced around with teams. So, I mean,
Three
I think it
teams
was
in one season.
exactly. It's like it's very tough when you're like a journeyman like that all in one season, like having to get up and move your stuff to a new city because like your old team doesn't want you, and then they do that again. It's like it's very hard to, pitch and have confidence in an environment as such. So I think
Mm-hmm.
we have to take into consideration. Um, However, like if we're paying $20 million a year for this guy, like to be our 4 or 5 starter, I just don't really think it's too realistic, given that he hasn't really shown potential in the last like 2 seasons now. So unless we're sure that we have the intangibles and tools to, build up his confidence again and get him where he used to be, I think it's a pass on him.
Yeah, I think he'd be a good fit on the team like the Mets or the Giants, where they already have the super well established like front of the rotation. Like they already have their aces. They kind of just need a supplement with more innings. But I feel like Red Sox already have a pretty well established back of the rotation. Like I think Pavetta definitely earned a shot to start. Cutters looked really good. Starting Bayo, whatever Sale's gonna give you, like that's your like 3 through 5, like some combination of that. I feel like. Um, so Giolito obviously could be like a good reclamation project, but um, 20 million for a guy who right now would be like your four. I don't see it. Like I don't with the way the luxury tax, I don't think they'd even sniff the first threshold just because I don't see like there's not with all the people that have been taken off the market, I don't think they get to like the 75 million per year that they need to hit the first threshold. But I don't know, 20 million for a guy in Giolito when Montgomery's gonna cost like 5 million more, maybe. Um, like 8 million more. I don't know. I don't really see it being a fit right now.
What do you? I think I saw some reports that were also just like some interest in Blake Snell. What are you guys thoughts on that?
Uh
What was it?
oh yeah, all the stuff on Snow. I don't know. I've been probably more down on Snell than most people this offseason just because I feel like the Red Sox just need like consistency. And Snell, obviously two Cy Youngs, one of them being last season, but I don't know. Besides that, he doesn't go deep into games. He's not crazy consistent year over year, and he has the crazy upside. So I I would be excited about it if they sign them, but I feel like what they need is that game after game consistency. Like Montgomery would be around the same price range, maybe even a little cheaper, and you know what you're gonna get from him every game. Like it might not be the ceiling of Snell, but I'd say the floor is definitely higher. And at least with how the philosophy around pitching has been the last few years, I don't really see them going after a guy with that command profile. His walks per nine was over 5 last year, and you see it in guys whether it's they sign like whether it's Chris Martin or some of the more pitch to contact guys, they really do value consistently throwing strikes. And even though Snell had the results last year, I feel like they might not see his crazy amount of walks as sustainable over time. You guys kind of feel that way too, or?
I mean, like, I think that it hinges a lot on how much the Red Sox are able to improve the defense that they put on the field last year versus this year. Because
Mhm.
like we all knew last year that the defense was one of the worst in MLB, and it was a big focal point in the offseason. That's why we brought in a two-time Golden Glover and Tyler O'Neill. Like
Yeah.
our outfield was pretty terrible. So I mean, to bring in a defender like that is, a huge signing. And I think that a healthy Trevor Story will also help, the defense even more. And I think that overall they'll probably make, another move to get another guy who's able to field somewhat, better than help basically help what we are doing. As far as like Snell goes, I would say that the changeup has been, you know, a more of a factor in the years that he's won the Cy Young. If you look at the usage rates in years where he's won the Cy Young versus years where he didn't, it's up about 10% in years that he did in 2020 and 2023. So that is something very notable. And we've said like in the past that Andrew Bailey is a very big, like changeup splitter guy. So I think that definitely plays, a role. So I don't necessarily think that it's out of the realm of possibilities that Blake Snell could be a Red Sox.
Mhm.
And we've definitely been needing, sort of a big name, big, starting pitcher. I don't know if Montgomery is necessarily going to be our ace if we sign him.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The change up point I do really like because obviously we kind of harped on it when Andrew Bailey came over. How documented his work with improving guys' change ups and splits are. Um yeah, I guess Snell he does give you more of that ace potential than Montgomery would. I don't know, Jay, what are you kind of thinking on it?
I think like the argument that I've seen is that like someone like Snell, like you just go for guys that have higher strikeout rates because you have to accept the fact that logically, if you strike out guys more often, just you're giving your defense less opportunities to mess up, essentially.
Mhm.
That's kind of like a broad scope take, but it does have some like value to it.
Yeah. Already, like compared to last season, I just like the Red Sox's options for defense a lot more. Like presumably having Rafaela for a full season wherever he plays, he's gonna massively improve. Pablo Reyes average at worst at second base. Full season of Trevor Story at shortstop makes him or just makes the shortstop position a lot better and helps Devers a lot. And him at short also will help Casas. His throws will be better, and Casas got a lot better as the season went on at first base. I don't see I don't see the Red Sox being like a crazy, like top best in the league defensive team, but I think they'll be definitely better than last season and like better than last season, like enough. I think they'll be improved enough that they shouldn't be the front office shouldn't be worried of signing a contact profile pitcher like Montgomery over or compared to a more whiff profile guy like Blake Snell.
Yeah, honestly, when you look at the Red Sox defense, like at least last year, the two biggest holes were obviously the corner infields, right, like third base and first base, and at least for I don't know about I can't really speak on Devers, but for first base, if you look at like in the recent few years, there's been many examples of first basemen like their defensive production like varying from like I think it was
Mm-hmm.
what Vladdy did he win the Gold Glove at first base last year? He might have, I think.
Oh, I don't know if he won the Gold Glove, but he had some like crazy high defensive rating.
And he was like terrible before that. And then on the
Yeah.
flip side, Matt Olson, I think he's won Gold Gloves in the past, and he was one of the worst defensive first basemen last year. Like
Yeah.
you can't rule out like Costas can easily just become a plus defender next year if he's
Yeah.
put enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like there's
because all it takes at first base is making a couple, like the 50-50 balls. That's all that makes the difference between a Golden Glove first baseman and like an average first baseman. Because the thing about first base is that one, you don't have to worry about range. Like their main job is to be able to keep the ball in front of them and just
mhm.
get to the base and pick the ball if it's in the dirt. Those are main jobs. So you don't have to worry about range. So most first basemen, they're mainly judged off of how good their glove is, and that can be a somewhat fluky thing from year to year. So I think that it's not. I don't think any first baseman can become like a really good defender, but I think that the bar, to be a good defender at first base versus another position, say like shortstop or center field, is so much lower.
Yeah, like obviously it's Costas's defense isn't or like the importance of his defense at first base isn't as vital as like center field or catcher or shortstop. But just like another point, having Story and Devers there like the full season, like that's just gonna help like all of his defensive metrics because he's not gonna have nearly as many of those like wild throws that he has to try and catch or like um yeah, I guess just like bad throws. And he's just like a tank. Like he's gonna be able to block so many balls. I think we're definitely looking at a much better defensive season from him. Um, and then speaking of a guy who can give you some defensive value, Teoscar Hernandez. So it's kind of been all over the place. Some people he is looking for a 4-year deal apparently. According to I forget which reporters, but it's kind of out there that that's kind of what he wants. Around the 20 million AAV range. So when it comes to him 4 years, at 20 million, I think that might be a little much. I'd be willing to go to like 25 over 3, I think, just for the less like higher AAV over less years, just because like they're not really that close to the first luxury tax. Like I don't think it's gonna matter that much. But were you guys kind of feeling on the whole Teoscar Hernandez bidding?
Well, again, like like last year, splits at home and road were like night and day. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's a well above average hitter on the road, and like Seattle's one of the worst ballparks to hit into. I'm not gonna like fault him too much for that. And
Yeah.
again, I think everyone knows like his insane stats at Fenway Park. I mean, I don't know how much that's going to translate if you put him in the stadium for 81 games a year, but it's definitely a positive. Strong power righty bat. The only questions I have is like that kind of creates a logjam in the outfield. I feel like 'cause you'd have Duran, you'd have like Yoshida can't play at DH every single game. Duran, Yoshida, Abreu's still there. You have Rafaela, O'Neill, and then Teoscar. So you have 6 outfielders essentially. So I don't see what they would do there.
I mean, I think if they traded, if they signed Teoscar Hernandez, then I'd say most likely their next move would be to trade either Duran or Willier. Just trade another young piece, and I think that makes the Jesus Luzardo deal more realistic now, because if they got Teoscar, then they wouldn't feel as bad about giving away a piece like Duran in order to get a young starting pitcher like Luzardo or like Edward Cabrera. Um, I think that, you know, as you said, Jay, Teoscar has played very well in the Red Sox ballpark. I honestly don't think that we would have to go as high as an AEV like 25 mil. I think that
Yeah.
Teoscar only made what 14 mil last year. So I think that and he really didn't have like that great of a year. So I don't think we'll have to pay much higher than 16 or so. I think it's probably in the range of like 16 to 20 is what we're looking at right now. And I think that if, you know, if Teoscar's signing leads to a trade for a young starting pitcher, I'd be all for it.
Yeah. The reason I was kind of thinking like the 75/3 is because when you look at all these reports coming out, the Dodgers keep getting linked to him. And with the way that just like everyone wants to go the Dodgers right now, having to go above and beyond, I think is something that you might have to do. In terms of the money, if they do sign him, I feel like it's a really tough problem to tackle. I feel like he'd probably be the primary left fielder with Yoshida at DH, and then either Duran in center or Rafaela if either one gets traded. And then I feel like they might split time with Willier and O'Neill and right just since Willier's young, and then to keep O'Neill healthy. It's such a hard problem to tackle because um none of the like there's you can split the pie like 50 different ways and come up with like 10 different outfield formations with the guys they're linked to and possible prospects. It's just I think that Teoscar isn't even like a defensive liability, and I think right now having that extra right-handed bat who we know can hit at Fenway, I don't know if he'd hit like where was it like 315 that he hits at Fenway right now. I don't know if he'd do that over 81 games, but I feel like get that right-handed power you need, and then you can figure the rest out after. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they're kind of like one bat short right now. Without accounting for like development of other guys. Yeah, I guess just like trade packages. How because with the young guys who are like about to become aces like a Luzardo or Edward Cabrera is not about to become an ace, but he definitely has the potential to be really good. Like how much are you willing to give up for a guy who would transform the top of your rotation?
Well, again, I mean, in my eyes, Cabrera and Lazard are just in different tiers. Like I think they have distinctly different packages.
Yeah.
Like Edward Cabrera, I think. Like, am I wrong for saying that Duran or like Cabrera should be the main piece or like close to the main piece in that deal? Whereas like Lazard, you have to get someone better. That's one of those guys.
Yeah, I think a Duran for Cabrera trade would work really well or something like that. For Luzardo, I think you have to give up one of the big three prospects, but I think for a guy like Cabrera, Duran could or Willier could definitely be the headliner.
I mean, I'm kind of like I'm in the camp of, especially with the amount of young outfielders we have that have potential.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to maximize on Duran's value right now, especially because he's a few years older than the rest of our guys, right? Meaning you would have to pay him. I mean, the Red Sox just don't have the best history of paying their stars, so I wouldn't be mad at all if they decided to trade him off now.
Yeah, I mean Jarren Duran's coming off a career year, so I don't think it would be surprising to see him be traded, especially with his, controllability, young age, and coming off the best season of his by far the best season of his career. And he still has ways to improve, especially on the defensive side. So I think that he holds a lot of potential. And I really think that if we're going to make a trade, we should just go for it all. You know, um, we have a lot of young talent already, so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to trade one of the big three.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that if we were going to trade for anyone, I'd rather have Luzardo just because, he's more proven. He's clearly, I mean, in my opinion, just better than Cabrera. So, I mean, I think that if we're gonna trade, Jaron Duran, who's could be a young cornerstone of our future, then we should, trade for someone big.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like um just looking at Cabrera's profile right now, you can see that he's like so close to unlocking something. So many of them, really, besides the walks, every metric so it looks really good. And I think that train for a guy, he's only 25. And obviously it wasn't great last year, but with the overhaul and pitching development, you could keep the big three intact, give up a package centered around Duran, and maybe a couple other like solid prospects, semi high level guys. Because really in AAA right now, are like none of the in like organizational start pitching depth is really that close to the majors. Like Wickelman, Gonzalez, and Richard Fitz both seem like they might be on the reliever track. Long term, Luis Perales is so young. So you'd give up a lot for Cabrera, I think, but he's already in the majors. Bank on your guys developing him, and just continue to improve the major league pitching, and maybe you get that like really good number 3 starter that you want.
I mean, yeah, I see that, but at the same time, they've both been in the MLB for the same amount of time. They've both been in the MLB for oh wait, no, that's actually not true. But basically Jesus Luzardo didn't like do anything till 2022. He's only a year older, so I don't really think like the age is a big difference for me. I mean, he's gonna have less control than Cabrera, but at the same time, Cabrera's never really been, he's never really been healthy, which is kind of worrisome for me. He's never pitched over 100 innings in an MLB season, even though he's had 3 seasons. I'm gonna basically two because the 2021 season that he had, we can discard. On the other side of things, Jesus Luzardo has had back-to-back 3 ERA seasons. Last year over 200 strikeouts and 178 innings. So I think that Jesus Luzardo, while Edward Cabrera, is sort of like a baseball savant, lights up the baseball savant page, I'd just say that we go with the tried and true thing, go with Luzardo.
Yeah. Yeah, Luzardo, he did have pretty big injury history before the last 2 years. But it's kind of hard to make decisions on injuries when the guys have both been relatively healthy recently. I think for a guy like Luzardo, you have to give up one of the big three, and then what you're talking Cutter, and then 2 other like really good prospects, because you're basically getting again you're trading. It's like kind of like you're just trading for an ace. Like you need to give up a lot.
I mean, I think both Red Sox fans would be fine with that, giving up one of the big three, like Crawford and like Blythe, maybe. I don't know. That might be too much though. I don't know how Red Sox fans feel about that.
I think Blythe, the ceiling is super high. Teams might just be wary because since he missed all of last year with a shoulder injury, they might just want to see how he rebounds from it.
That's true.
But yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of options with all the prospect capital they have. There's a lot of different ways that they can go. I think it just comes down to seeing what they do. All right, I think that does it for now, and we'll see you later. Peace.